Hey, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever wondered what it takes to become a professional sports creative working in the industry? In this video, I'm going to give you my top tips on doing just that. Stick around. Alright, so before we get into it, I'll just give you a bit of context. I'm Jake. I work for Formula One as a graphic designer. I'm self-taught, but I've been in the creative industry now for about 4 years, working in-house. I've worked in an agency as well. Covered sports like Formula One, esports, golf, sailing, football. I'd like to think that I've picked up a few things here and there in terms of breaking into the industry, what to do when you're trying to get a job or you're trying to network. This video will give you a few pointers and a few ideas. Let's get into it. Network as much as possible, and I would say the best place to do that is LinkedIn, because people are semi-expecting you to message them on there, and it's also a more professional dynamic rather than you reaching out and trying to track down the creative director of whichever team's personal Instagram account. If you send them a message on LinkedIn, a professional one, it's just going to come across as a little less creepy, if I'm honest, and you can start to build the relationship. So LinkedIn might not be a website that you are overly familiar with or that you use as much as Facebook and Instagram, etc., but it is full of C-suite executives, recruiters, senior decision makers, and people who otherwise don't generally go on Instagram looking for social, sports social media graphic. And that is really powerful when it comes to sort of putting your work front and center to people who are, in the know and know what they like, and also have the power to actually potentially give you a job or a freelance gig or whatever it is that you're looking for. So if you're not on LinkedIn, I would suggest signing up to it. I would suggest adding as many people as you can within the sports industry at large, and specifically within the teams and leagues that you're interested in working in, because you're going to find that they're all on there, and it's the professional social media website as well. So people aren't going to react negatively if you send them a message on there sort of asking for different things. So as I said, I can't recommend LinkedIn enough. It's a really great way to put your work out in front of people that otherwise wouldn't see it, and a great way to network with other people who are already in the industry or in the team or in the league that you want to work in. Once you've reached out, you've added or you're about to add the key decision maker, the recruiter or senior executive, whatever. Once you're about to reach out to them, craft them a meaningful message that complements something about their work, what their team have done, their agency have done. Whatever it is, just make it genuine. Having been someone that has received a lot of LinkedIn messages and emails and messages on social media, you can tell quite quickly whether someone's being authentic, whether it's a copy and paste message. You want to make your opener as genuine, as warm as possible, and not just launch straight into why you should have a job, because trust me, there's nothing more off-putting than someone who is overly keen and bordering on aggressive. You just want to go in and be chill. You want to build an actual meaningful relationship with the person, because ultimately when their job opening does open up, you want them to think of you. None of this stuff is guaranteed, by the way. You want to really start to build networks and networking with people and building a relationship with people that's genuinely quite warm, and it isn't just take. Relationship is always about give and take, and this isn't a dating channel by any means, but relationships are all about that give and take, and understanding where to draw the line and not being too over enthusiastic. So slow it down, write them a message that is meaningful and genuine, and you just don't know where that message could lead to. I'm not guaranteeing that you're suddenly going to get a job working in the industry or for a team, or get that promotion that you always wanted, but you improve your chances massively when you take it slow and you're your authentic self, because there's nothing worse than getting a copy and pasted message with the wrong person's name on the top. And trust me, I've had those messages. Write something that is real to you, real to them, and you just don't know where it might take you. Alright, so this tip is something I think is overlooked by a lot of creatives up and down the board, and that is building the brand of you. You having a cool logo, nice font, cool website, portfolio, etc. Great, awesome. But it's a sustained thing, and you want to be putting your work and yourself out there as much as possible to remind people that you exist to an extent, that your work is good. You've got to promote yourself at the end of the day. You have to be your own cheerleader. You open the doors to so many more projects and people and opportunities if you are constantly putting your work out and constantly being heard above the noise. Think of how many other designers want the same opportunities that you do to work for that team, industry. You need to kind of be heard above all of those other people. And so what I always suggest is, and this is a bit cliche and it's easier said than done, but see what other people are doing and do the exact opposite if you can. Or try and find ways to stand out from the crowd and be memorable, because there are so many people doing the same thing. Things start to kind of blur into one, and you want to have like a distinct style, font, whatever it is that just makes people kind of go, oh, that's your work. You want to have that association, and you just don't know where that could lead to later down the line, whether that is job opportunities, freelance opportunities. You want to stand out from the crowd and not just blend in like everyone else. Super important to have a portfolio that you're really proud of, that you're really happy with. So long story short is, make sure that there is nothing in there that you think is anything less than A+ as a project. You don't want to have things in there which are weak links and kind of show maybe a few weaknesses in your tool set or your skill set. You want to just show your best, full stop. So you kind of have to sit down and be real to yourself and decide, whether or not a project fits that grade, if it hits the mark, if it hits the right sort of note that you're going for. Show as much range as possible. Now I can go on Instagram, I can go on Twitter, and I can find an absolute wealth of graphic designers on there who do amazing sports edits. Unfortunately, being a creative in the sports industry, don't do that as much as you probably think. There's a lot of InDesign, making things like tickets, understanding print as well is really important, but you might be doing tickets, posters, signage. The edit stuff doesn't necessarily happen as much as you may think. So it's really important to just show as much range as possible. You've got a diverse skill set. You know how to use more than one program in the Adobe suite. You can do some motion, you can do Photoshop, you can do Illustrator. InDesign is so important, and if you don't know enough about InDesign, try and find somewhere or find someone that understands that program. InDesign is the most used program that I use on a daily basis. It's not Photoshop and it's not Illustrator, and that's just because of the nature of the work, the nature of the beast. And yeah, if you aren't across all these different Adobe apps, you're going to get left behind and people are not going to give your portfolio much notice. Show as much range as possible whilst also showing your best possible work. There is no point putting work in there that you think is okay or just good enough. You want it to all be A+, perfect, A1, and it's something that you're constantly refining and should be refining all the time and updating. There's no point having something from 5 years ago if it's not super relevant to what you're talking about or discussing. Also, try to craft your portfolio. Speak to that audience that would be at the interview, or speak to that team, or who you think is on the other end. I usually try to do something a little bit bespoke for the interview, just to kind of show that I've thought about them as a brand and show my understanding of them as a brand. So whether that's doing a mock-up with their company logos, or just something to show that I haven't just copied and pasted the exact same portfolio that I've sent to countless other people. This is your bespoke. I've really sat down and thought about it, and trust me, it'll open doors for you, because people will know that you've spent more than 5 minutes putting this thing together. Connecting with other creatives who work within sport or what aspire to work within sport is really important, because it means that you can sort of reach out to them and sort of get them to critique your work, give you honest feedback, and basically give you new ideas. It's kind of a give and take. Design, creativity, it all kind of comes from that collaboration between people. And it's just so important when it comes to developing as a graphic designer, and just making sure that you're not missing the mark, because you might think that your work is A1 brilliant, and someone kind of comes in and tells you otherwise in the comments on Instagram or on Twitter, whereas you can save yourself some pain by having that conversation with someone that you trust or believes in what you're doing, and they'll tell you that it doesn't work, or they'll give you an idea on how you can improve your work. I actually set up a Sports Creative Discord server, and I'll put a link in the bottom if you're interested in joining. About 100 different people on there from around the world, from different sports, from different industries as well, and it's a really cool place to chat, collaborate, and just get to know other people who work in the industry. You can learn so much from other people, collaborating with them and understanding their technique, or what it is that drives them and their creative process. Learning from it is only going to make you better as a graphic designer as well. So you want to build that sort of circle of trust, that circle of graphic designers that can kind of give you that real honest feedback. Getting that feedback from people and giving feedback really helps you understand what other people are doing and maybe where you're going wrong. So yeah, those are some tips and ideas on becoming a designer or creative within the sports industry. I'll put the Sports Creative Discord server in the link below. Please do feel free to join up. It'd be good to have you. And as always, like and subscribe to the video, and I'll see you in the next one.